Sagittarius, your love card for 2026 is the Hierophant. And for some of you, that means a Taurus sun, moon, or rising sign plays a significant role in relationship. If not, this is a year where you're looking at commitment and expectations from partnership, and whether those have evolved or you're still holding on to some outdated and rigid patterns of thought. Now, your love interest may be someone who works in the arts, an artist, sculptor, art dealer, musician, or perhaps they're a jeweler or someone who works with precious stones. Alternatively, they may work in finance, banking, investments, wealth management, or maybe this person is a counselor, a spiritual guide, an educator, or a lecturer. And you might meet this person at a place of worship or through mutual metaphysical interests. Now, if this person has health issues, they might possibly be related to ear, nose, or throat ailments, thyroid issues. Maybe they have muscle and joint tension, or they could be prone to infection. Your love interest is also likely to be someone who's very patient with strong endurance, whether that's physically, mentally, or emotionally. They may have a love for beauty and beautiful objects, and they could be involved with cultural centers or drawn toward people of culture, and this may be part of the backdrop of your connection. And while they have an appreciation for good looks, it's inner beauty that's the real magnet for attraction. This person views love as sacred, and they won't get easily entangled without feeling a soul connection. In fact, initially, they may seem rather distant, but once their heart is opened, they become deeply committed. But before that, there can be love games of testing the limits and pretending detachment or indifference. But this can be overcome with sensitive, honest communication that solidifies trust. So if you meet someone this year, it may feel like there's a karmic aspect to your alliance where you're convinced of a past life connection. And it may be that from the very first moment, you feel as if you've known each other before. This seems to be a spiritual union where romantic and sexual love sometimes takes a back seat to the deeper bonds of soulmates. But there is something about this relationship that will prompt you to re-examine your beliefs, values, and principles. Maybe either of you are very traditional, conservative, or you hold strong faith in the timeless institutions of our society. Or either of you might be inflexible in your views concerning religious, political, or economic doctrine or any other ideologies. And if so, there's a dogmatic commitment to how one thinks a relationship should be that could interfere with healthy give and take because the person is so caught up in should and ought. So, this is probably rooted in some kind of personal insecurity that has caused one to feel inadequate unless certain expectations that were established earlier in life are met. If that's your vantage point, you will feel more cheated, more discouraged by outcomes that don't meet your expectations. But if you can't fully hear, see, or sense how the other person really is, your partner is going to be made to feel diminished, invalidated, or invisible. If there's a compulsion to control the nature of the relationship, it may not leave much room for the partner to be their true self. So this is a year to compromise, to try to relate to the other person's point of view, which will allow you to decide if you want to intensify your connection or scale it back. So if you're in a challenging relationship, the confrontations that occur this year can happen because self-esteem and security are tied to being right. And we've all heard the saying, you can be happy or you can be right. If one of you is closed-minded, your arguments may be stuck on general principles that actually have very little to do with the actual situation you find yourself in. Some of your disagreements are driven by procrastination and ongoing inconsistencies in behavior and communication, your own or the partner. And it's also possible that you become vulnerable because of reckless, extreme, and perhaps even dangerous behavior without realizing it, especially if you fail to rely on the facts of a situation before moving forward. And it could also be that ongoing financial worries are a contributing factor to the tension in your relationship. In fact, given your choices, this year can either be highly productive or seriously detrimental. Your family and or love life is going to become a little more exciting, more challenging, more demanding. And you're guaranteed to encounter some drama if you're not discerning in your choice of lovers or companionship. And the result could be a scandal, some intrigue, ugly accusations or rumors that even if they don't involve you directly, will nonetheless be difficult to remove yourself from. So it's a year where you'll need to clearly understand your own motives and intentions, because the stronger your attraction to or your irritation with someone, the easier it will be to convince yourself that the ends justifies the means. For some of you, this is a year where you're breaking with tradition, and that might suggest a possible divorce. If not, it could mean choosing to set your own standards for relationship rather than relying on the thoughts and opinions of others. You're being forced to deal with conventional morality and the philosophy of the majority. And at times, you may have difficulty discerning what is right and what is wrong, especially if you are facing parental or societal opposition to your choices. Some of you will decide to take an unorthodox approach. Maybe you date someone who doesn't conform to your previous pattern. The challenge is in establishing your own value system versus surrendering to indoctrination. So some of you will be forming a union meant to last a lifetime, which would include marriage and a wedding, or the renewal of vows, or the celebration of an anniversary. Whatever the case, a significant marker is scheduled to take place in your relationship. Others of you are working to build a better relationship with a partner, and you may do so through spirituality, counseling, therapy, learning, seeking advice, and educating yourselves about the mechanics of better relating. Again, the group dynamic may be the cause of unpredictability or new conditions that disrupt stability. And these changes can feel unsettling unless you're the one adding to these new circumstances. At times, your intellect will work at cross purposes with your heart as you examine opportunities or the urgency to act. Keep in mind that despite appearances, what unfolds this year is just a part of the bigger picture with more to develop over time. You have the ability to bring drama to your love life or simplify it in the face of adversity and temptation. And this means you'll struggle with the desire to do what suits you and still do the right thing.